Okay, children. So we were doing the nervous system, and we have done the peripheral nervous system. Under this nervous system, we have covered the two main parts of it, the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. Right? Now we're going to start with the central nervous system, and it mainly comprises of two major parts. What are they? First one is brain, and second one is what? Spinal cord. I have also discussed the brain and behavior. Under this, we have just discussed the interesting facts about an adult brain. An adult brain weighs about 36 kg and contains around 100 billion neurons. The most amazing thing about the brain is not its number of neurons, but its ability to guide human behavior and thought process. So what is the amazing fact? What is the amazing thing about the brain? That it is consist of, billion of neurons, but also it is very able to guide human behavior and the thought process. Very important things, what we think, why we think, and how does we behave according to our thought process, right? So these were certain general and interesting facts. You can just write it whenever the brain and behavior question is there. But as far as the structure of the brain is concerned, let us start with it. Structure of the brain consists of three main parts. The first one is hindbrain, second one is midbrain, and third one is what? Forebrain. You all have studied earlier, but let's do it again. Hindbrain consists of following structures. Which is the first one? You get it clear that a human brain is divided into three parts. The first one is hindbrain, second one is midbrain because it is coming between the two brains, right? And the last one is forebrain. Now let us start with the very first, that is hindbrain. In hindbrain, the first structure we met is medulla oblongata. What is it? It is the lowest part of the brain that exists in continuation of the spinal cord, right? It is connected and it is continuing from the spinal cord, and it is the lowest part of the brain. Now, what are the activities which it does? It regulates basic life supporting activities like breathing, heart rate, blood pressure. So these are very important activities which are very important for life. So the medulla oblongata is regulating all these life supporting activities. That is why it is also known as the vital center of the brain. As it is performing very important tasks, it is regulating the life activities. That is why what it is known as the vital center of the brain. Just underline this thing, and one mark question could be asked, which part of the brain is known as vital center of the brain, right? So just underline, keep on underlining whichever the things you find important. Now let's continue. The other part of hindbrain is what? Pons. It is connected with medulla on one side and with the midbrain on the other. As it is coming from medulla oblongata, so it is connected to it from one side, and the other part of the pons is connected to what? Cerebellum. Sorry, with the midbrain. So it is just between the medulla and midbrain. A nucleus of pons receives auditory signals relayed by our ears. Here it is important for the auditory. It is playing a very important role. Why? Because a nucleus of pons receives auditory signals relayed by our ears. And what is the other task? It is also believed that pons is involved in what? Sleep mechanism, particularly the sleep characterized by dreaming. What is the important feature of pons? That it plays an important role in auditory section of our body. and it is also playing a very important role in sleep mechanism, particularly a sleep which is characterized by a lot of dreams. It contains nuclei affecting respiratory movement and facial expressions also. See, you don't have to learn each and every minute detail. Just don't be very specific in learning these things. Neither you have to learn from where it is coming, from where it is connecting. Don't go on to the structural part, but please mainly focus upon the activities, mainly focus upon the functions which are conducted by these parts, right? So pons, if we just brief out what majorly it does, that it plays an important, or it receives auditory signals relayed by our ears. Second feature is what? It involved in sleep mechanism, particularly the sleep characterized by dreaming. Now, other things are also given, that it is also affecting respiratory movement and facial expression. It is not important. If you remember, well and good. If you don't remember, if you don't write, marks will not be cut. So focus upon the major functions. Don't study this biological part very specifically in very much detail, right? The next part, the third part of hindbrain is what? Cerebellum. It is the highly developed part of the hindbrain, and it is recognized by its wrinkled surface. You all have seen the structure, the diagram of brain. So what is the cerebellum look like? It consists of a very wrinkled surface, right? And it is the highly developed part of the hindbrain. Now, what are the functions? It maintains and controls posture and equilibrium of the body. So it is, mainly connected, or it is mainly responsible for the balance of the body. So it is playing a very important role, the coordination, the equilibrium, the posture, the balance of the body. And its main function is what? Coordination of muscular movements. So all muscular movements, all motor movements, all the things which are responsible for your posture, for your balancing the body, it is mainly regulated by which part? Cerebellum, right? Though the motor commands originate in the forebrain, the cerebellum receives and coordinates them to relate to the muscles. Do not need to learn this. What is the another important feature? It also stores the memory of movement patterns, so that we do not have to concentrate on how to walk, dance, or ride a bicycle. Now this is important. See, it stores the memory of movement patterns. Just notice, just observe that whenever we are walking, are we try to remember the things, or it happens just automatic? We are sitting on a chair right now, all of a sudden we have to get up and walk. For that, do you need any planning? Do you need any concentration? Do you need to focus upon the things? No, because it is very automatic, very obvious. And who is playing the important role in conducting all these activities? The cerebellum, right? Fine. Okay, now let's come upon the second part of the brain, which is known as midbrain. Midbrain is relatively small in size, and it connects the hindbrain with the forebrain. As it is named midbrain, so it is coming between the hindbrain and forebrain, right? This is the structural part. It is very much sufficient. Now, what is the important part of midbrain? RAS, the reticular activating system. This is important, underline. And what it is responsible for? It is responsible for our arousal. What do you mean by arousal? Arousal means a state of alertness, right? We become all of a sudden we aroused if some stimulus affect us, right? We become alert. We try to concentrate on it. We try to focus upon the things. So the reticular activating system, short form is RAS, it is responsible for our arousal level. It makes us alert and active by regulating sensory inputs. It also helps us in selecting information from the environment. Now, when we say that we are selecting information from the environment, What is the meaning? What we try to say, the same thing, that we are trying to focus upon certain things and we are not taking consideration the other things, right? We are not looking the other things, but we are selecting out of many things the most important thing for us. So that is known as alertness, attention. So this system also helps us to select the stimulus which are present in many number in the environment. So midbrain, a very short and sweet description is given, not much is given. Let's come upon the next part, that is the last part of the brain. It is known as forebrain. It is considered to be the most important part of the brain because it performs all cognitive, emotional, and motor activities. Now you can notice the thing that all the important things, if it is related to the cognitive part, it is related to all kind of mental processes, as we have discussed in chapter number 1. Right? When we talk about emotional part, it is related to our feelings, emotions, our mood, right? And when we talk about motor activities, it is indicating that all the muscular movements, all the motor activities, the movements, whenever we try to do something with our hand, with our leg, or with any other part, it is all because of forebrain. That is why it is the most important part of the brain. Underline it, the most important part. And why? Because it performs all type of cognitive, emotional, and motor activities, right? Now there are a number of parts in the forebrain. Fine. So let us start with the very first one, which is known as hypothalamus. All have heard this word quite a lot time. It is very general term, but have you ever tried what this structure is responsible for? Why it is called an important structure? Hypothalamus is one of the smallest structures in the brain, but plays a vital role in our behavior. Although hypothalamus is very small in size, but it is playing a very important and vital role in our behavior. It is mainly related to our behavior. Now, what are the functions it regulates? It regulates physiological processes involved in emotional and motivational behavior, such as eating, drinking, sleeping, temperature regulation, and sexual arousal. So are you getting the things that it is controlling many important activities? It is regulating the physiological processes behind what are emotional and motivational behavior. Emotion and motivation both are very important whenever we look at from a psychological point of view. It is a very important part of human behavior. It decides many things in our life, right? So it is regulating all those things. It also regulates and controls the internal environment of the body and regulates the secretion of hormones from various endocrine glands that we're going to discuss after completing the structure. We'll come upon the endocrine system. So what hypothalamus is doing, it is also controlling the secretion of hormones. There are various glands which secrete various kind of hormones. So who is controlling this? Hypothalamus. And it is also regulating what? The internal environment of the body. Internal environment consists of what? Your heart rate, your blood pressure, your temperature, right? So all these things are controlled by hypothalamus. Now next is thalamus. Earlier we discussed hypothalamus. The other part is now what? Thalamus. Thalamus, how does it look like? It is an egg-shaped cluster of neurons. That's it. Don't study much. Just remember that it consists of an egg-shaped cluster of neurons. Like, what are the functions? Let us see. It is like a relay station that receives all incoming sensory signals from sense organs and sends them to appropriate parts of the cortex for processing. Understand what role it is playing? It is playing a role of a relay station. Why? Because it is receiving the incoming sensory signals. from various sense organs. We have discussed about the sensory nerves, right? So what it is getting various kind of sensory signals from whom? Obviously from the sense organs, and where it is sending those signals to the appropriate parts of the cortex. We're going to discuss what is cortex, what are the different parts. So it is mainly, connected with the receiving the first information, sensory information, and then processing it or just passing it to the appropriate parts of the cortex. It also receives all outgoing motor signals coming from the cortex and sends them to appropriate parts of the body. So it is conducting a two-way process, a two-way responsibility. Sorry. It is getting the signals from sensory organs, right? And it is processing them to the appropriate part of the cortex. And also it is doing the other way around. It is connecting the different signals from different part of the cortex and giving it to the appropriate parts of the body, different organs of the body, right? Thalamus we have done. Now let's come upon the limbic system. It is also a part of forebrain. What is the limbic system? This system is composed of a group of structures that form part of the old mammalian brain. It is composed of what? A group of structures that form part of the old mammalian brain. जो हमारा old mammalian brain था, जो हमारा पहले का जो structure था, उसकी तरह क्या है? It is composed of a group of structures. बहुत सारे group हैं structures के. And what are the main functions conducted by the limbic system? It helps in maintaining internal homeostasis by regulating body temperature, BP and blood sugar level. We have discussed the term homeostasis. I hope you remember, or many of you must be know. Homeostasis is what? It is the, it is a kind of balance in our body, or you can say it is a very balanced situation in which what is happening? It is maintaining the body temperature also, BP also, and blood sugar also. It is a kind of equilibrium stage when nothing is disturbed, everything is going very smoothly. So what the limbic system is trying to do, it is trying to maintain that internal homeostasis, which is regulating all these bodily activities. Now it has close links with the hypothalamus. The limbic system is connected with the hypothalamus. Besides hypothalamus, the limbic system comprises the hippocampus and amygdala. Now there are two parts, important parts of limbic system. It is connected to the hypothalamus, right? Now there are two important parts. The one is hippocampus and another one is what? Amygdala. Hippocampus plays an important role in long-term memory. Getting the things? What this part conducts, what is the role, what is the responsibility of hippocampus to maintain our LTM, long-term memory, the things which we remember for our lifetime, right? We'll also do this chapter, short-term memory, long-term memory, sensory memory. There you will understand the things in detail. But for right now, we just have to understand that hippocampus is a structure of limbic system which is playing an important role in maintaining the LTM, long-term memory, right? Another part I just said, what was amygdala? Amygdala plays an important role in emotional behavior. Now this part is mainly concerned with the emotional behavior of humans. What are the emotions? On appropriate time, we used to show appropriate emotions, right? There are certain feelings, there are a lot of mood swings, right? So all these things are controlled by which part? By amygdala, right? So this is all about limbic system. Now we're going to start with the cerebrum from tomorrow, as it is a little bit lengthy portion. So for right now, I'm ending till limbic system and we're going to start with the cerebrum from tomorrow. Please turn on your videos. Ma'am, can you please stop with the recording?